It is 6:47 in the morning. The alarm goes off. You open your eyes, and before you even sit up, it starts. Your back is stiff. Your hips feel like they've been locked in place all night. Your knees ache the moment your feet touch the floor. You shuffle to the bathroom like every step is a negotiation. You look in the mirror and think, when did this happen? When did getting out of bed become the hardest part of the day? Maybe you've told yourself it's just age. Maybe your doctor shrugged and said something like, well, you're not 30 anymore. Maybe you've just quietly accepted it. The morning stiffness, the creaking joints, the fog in your brain that takes 2 cups of coffee to even partially lift. But here's what I want you to know right now, before we go any further. This is not simply what aging feels like. Not all of it. And some of what you're feeling every single morning has real, identifiable causes. Causes that can be addressed, managed, and in many cases, significantly improved. By the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why your body feels the way it does when you wake up. And more importantly, I am going to give you a practical, step-by-step plan that you can start using tonight, so that tomorrow morning feels different. Stay with me, because this matters. My name is Dr. Marcus. I have spent over 2 decades in medicine, and in that time, I have sat across from thousands of patients, men and women in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, who told me almost exactly what I just described to you. They woke up every morning feeling broken, worn out before the day even started. And far too many of them had been told the same thing. It's just age. Deal with it. I refuse to accept that. And after watching this video, I hope you will too. Before we go any further, drop your age and your city in the comments right now. I read every single one, and I genuinely want to know who is watching today. You might be surprised how many people your age are dealing with the exact same thing. Now let's get into it. To understand what's happening when you wake up stiff, sore, and exhausted, we need to talk about what your body is actually doing while you sleep. Most people think sleep is just rest. You close your eyes, your body switches off, and you recharge like a phone plugged into a wall. But that is not what happens at all. Sleep is one of the most biologically active periods of your entire day. Your brain is consolidating memories. Your immune system is sending out repair crews. Your muscles are recovering from the previous day's demands. And your joints, the places where your bones meet, are doing something very specific and very important. Here's the metaphor I want you to hold on to for this entire video. Think about a kitchen sponge. A fresh sponge is full of water. It's soft, flexible, pliable. It bends easily without cracking. Now leave that same sponge sitting on the counter overnight without water. In the morning, it's stiff, rigid, hard to squeeze. It needs to be re-moistened before it works the way it should. Your joints work in almost exactly the same way. Inside every joint in your body, there is something called synovial fluid. That is the lubricating liquid that keeps your joints gliding smoothly. Think of it like the oil inside a car engine. Without it, metal grinds against metal. Things seize up, and damage accumulates fast. When you sleep, you are still for many hours. You are not moving your knees, your hips, your spine, your ankles. And when a joint is still for a long time, the synovial fluid does not circulate properly. It becomes less distributed throughout the joint. So when you wake up and try to move, that first bend of the knee, that first twist of the back, you are asking your joint to work without adequate lubrication. The stiffness you feel in those first 10 or 15 minutes of the morning is, in large part, your joints asking for that lubrication to be pumped back in. And for most people, if they just get up and move gently for 15 minutes, that stiffness does ease. The sponge gets wet again. But here's the critical question, and this is where it gets important. What if the stiffness does not ease? What if it stays for 30 minutes, an hour, even longer? What if the pain is deeper than just stiffness? What if you're waking up multiple times in the night because of it? That is when there are other factors at play, and that is what we're going to break down right now. Reason 1, inflammation that is working against you overnight. The first and most significant reason so many people wake up feeling like they've been in a car accident is chronic low-grade inflammation. Now, inflammation is not always a bad thing. When you cut your finger, inflammation is your body's fire department. It rushes to the scene. It cleans up the damage. It starts the repair process. That's acute inflammation, and it is life-saving. Chronic inflammation is something entirely different. It is like having a fire alarm go off in your house. Not because of a real fire, but because it's glitching, and it just keeps going and going, day and night. Research suggests that people over 50 often have elevated levels of certain inflammatory compounds in their blood, proteins called cytokines and interleukins. You don't need to remember those words. What you need to understand is this. These compounds are most active at night and in the early morning hours. This is why people with inflammatory conditions, rheumatoid arthritis for example, almost always feel worst first thing in the morning. The inflammation has been running all night. Your body's inflammatory response peaks in the small hours. So you wake up right in the middle of it. But even without a formal diagnosis like rheumatoid arthritis, many people are living with low-level systemic inflammation that they don't even know about. And that inflammation is driven, in large part, by what you eat, how much you sleep, how much stress you're carrying, and how little you move. We'll talk about how to reduce that inflammation specifically in the solution section. But I want you to understand, if your morning pain is deep, joint-based, and takes more than 30 minutes to ease, inflammation is likely a major contributor. Reason 2. What dehydration does to you. Here's something that shocks almost every patient I tell it to. You are almost certainly dehydrating every single night, and it is making your morning pain significantly worse. Think about this. You go to bed, let's say at 10 o'clock. You don't drink anything. You sleep for 7 or 8 hours. By the time you wake up at 6 in the morning, 8 hours have passed without a single sip of water. Meanwhile, you've been breathing, and every exhale carries moisture out of your body. If you're a snorer, or if you sleep with your mouth open, you're losing even more. The average person wakes up mildly dehydrated every single morning. And here is why that matters for the pain you feel. Your spinal discs, the cushioning pads between the bones of your spine, are up to 80% water. They absorb fluid throughout the day when you're upright. But at night, when you lie down, gravity is no longer compressing them, and they actually reabsorb water. When you're dehydrated, they cannot absorb enough. And compressed, underhydrated spinal discs contribute directly to that deep, aching back pain that you feel the moment you try to get up. It's the sponge again. Dry sponge, stiff spine. The simple fix is almost embarrassingly basic, and yet almost nobody does it consistently. More on that in the solution section. Reason 3. The mattress and sleep position. Problem nobody talks about. Let me tell you about Raymond. Raymond was 64 years old, a retired electrician from Ohio, and he had been waking up with severe lower back pain every single morning for nearly 4 years. He'd been to 2 chiropractors, tried 3 different pain medications, had x-rays, and an MRI. Everything came back relatively normal for his age. Nobody could explain it. When I asked Raymond one simple question, everything changed. I asked him, "How old is your mattress?" He thought about it and said, "Probably 15 years. Raymond's mattress was the problem, or at least it was a significant part of the problem. After 15 years, even a quality mattress has lost much of its support. The springs have weakened, the foam has compressed and deformed, and when you lie on a mattress that no longer provides even support, your spine is not in a neutral alignment. Your muscles have to work all night just to compensate. They stay partially contracted for 8 hours, trying to hold your body in a position that the mattress isn't providing, and by morning, those muscles are exhausted and inflamed. Raymond bought a new mattress, medium firm, which research suggests is optimal for most people with back pain, and within 3 weeks, he told me his morning pain had dropped by more than half. He almost laughed when he said it. 4 years of suffering. One mattress. Sleep position matters too. If you sleep on your stomach, you are forcing your neck to turn to one side for hours. You are also flattening the natural curve of your lower back. Research strongly suggests that side sleeping with a pillow between your knees or back sleeping with a pillow under your knees significantly reduces the mechanical strain on your spine and hips overnight. These are not glamorous fixes, but they work, and they are almost never mentioned in a 10-minute doctor's appointment. Reason 4. The cortisol cycle and why stress makes you hurt. More in the morning. This one surprises people, but it is one of the most important connections in this entire video. Cortisol is a hormone your body produces. It is often called the stress hormone, which gives it a bad reputation. But cortisol is actually essential. It is what wakes you up in the morning. Your body is designed to produce a surge of cortisol in the early morning hours to give you the energy to get up and start the day. But here's the problem for many people over 50. If you are under chronic stress, financial worry, family concerns, health anxiety, poor sleep, your cortisol regulation becomes disrupted. The morning surge that is supposed to wake you up feeling alert and ready instead comes too early, or too low, or too inconsistently. And when cortisol is low or irregular in the morning, inflammation is not being properly suppressed. Think of cortisol as your body's own internal anti-inflammatory medicine. When it's working right, it keeps the inflammatory fire under control through the night. When it's not working right, the fire burns hotter, and you wake up feeling it. This is also why people who are going through periods of extreme stress, bereavement, illness, major life change, almost always report that their physical pain is worse during those periods. The connection between emotional stress and physical morning pain is not in your imagination. It is biochemistry. It is real. Reason 5. Poor circulation and what happens to your muscles. Overnight. As we get older, our circulation changes. The blood vessels become less elastic. The heart, like any muscle, changes with age. Blood doesn't always flow to the extremities, the hands, the feet, the lower legs, with quite the same efficiency it once did. During sleep, your heart rate drops. Blood pressure decreases. That is all normal and healthy. But for some people, this means that blood flow to certain muscles and joints become sluggish overnight. Without adequate circulation, muscles do not get the oxygen and nutrients they need to stay relaxed and recovered. Waste products, microscopic byproducts of normal cellular activity, accumulate in the muscle tissue instead of being flushed away. And when you wake up, those muscles are tighter, more sensitive, and more painful than they should be. This is particularly common in the legs, lower back, and shoulders. And it explains why so many people in their 60s and 70s wake up feeling not just stiff, but genuinely achy. The kind of deep muscle ache that feels like you've been working hard all night, even though you've been lying still. Light movement before bed, even just a 5-minute gentle walk around your house, can significantly improve overnight circulation. Again, we'll cover the exact protocol shortly. Before I give you the complete solution, before I walk you through the exact step-by-step protocol I use with my own patients to address all 5 of these causes, I have one quick request. If this video is giving you information you have never heard before, if you feel like someone is finally taking your morning pain seriously and giving you real answers, please hit that subscribe button right now. And then share this video with someone you love, your husband, your wife, your sister, your neighbor. Someone who shuffles to the bathroom every morning and has started to accept it as their new normal. One click from you could genuinely change how they feel tomorrow morning. I'll be here. Now, let's get into the solution. The solution. The 5-step evening and morning protocol for waking up without pain. I want to be very clear about something before I give you this protocol. You do not need to do all of this perfectly from day one. You do not need to overhaul your entire life tonight. What I want you to do is pick 1 or 2 of these steps and start there. One change can shift things meaningfully, and once you feel that shift, the next step becomes easier. Here is the exact protocol I walk my patients through. Step 1, the pre-sleep hydration strategy. Most people stop drinking water in the early evening because they don't want to wake up to use the bathroom in the night. I understand that. But complete dehydration from 6 in the evening until 7 in the morning is leaving your spinal discs, your joints, and your muscles starved of the water they need to recover overnight. Here's the compromise that works for most of my patients. Drink 1 full glass of water, approximately 8 ounces, roughly the size of a standard drinking glass, about 30 to 45 minutes before you go to bed. Not right at bedtime, because that's more likely to cause a midnight bathroom trip. 30 to 45 minutes before. Your kidneys will process most of it before you lie down. Additionally, keep a small glass of water on your nightstand. Not a full glass, just a few sips worth. When you first wake up in the morning, before you even stand up, take 4 or 5 slow sips. Drink the rest of your morning water. Another full glass, within the first 15 minutes of being awake. This rehydrates the spinal discs before you start loading them with your body weight. This single step alone makes a measurable difference for most people within 1 week. It is free, it is simple, and it works. Step 2. The 5-minute before bed mobility sequence. You do not need to exercise before bed. You do not need to do yoga or stretching in any formal sense. What you need is 5 minutes of gentle, targeted joint movement to circulate synovial fluid, improve blood flow to your muscles, and tell your nervous system to let go of the tension of the day. Here's a sequence that takes approximately 5 minutes and can be done on the floor, on your bed, or even standing at the side of your bed. First, ankle circles. Sit on the edge of your bed and rotate each foot in slow circles, 10 times in each direction. This takes about 1 minute and significantly improves overnight circulation to the lower legs and feet. Second, gentle knee hugs. Lie on your back and pull 1 knee at a time toward your chest. Hold for 10 seconds each side. Repeat 3 times per side. This decompresses the lower back and hip joint and takes about 90 seconds. Third, a gentle torso twist. Still lying on your back, let your knees fall slowly to one side while your upper body stays flat. Hold for 15 seconds. Then, the other side. This releases the tension in the muscles alongside your spine, the muscles that have been holding you upright all day. Fourth, if your neck and shoulders are a source of morning pain, take 60 seconds to slowly roll your chin toward your chest and back up, then tilt each ear toward its shoulder. Never force it. Just slow, gentle movement. 5 minutes. That is all this takes. And research published in several rheumatology journals suggests that pre-sleep gentle mobility exercises can reduce morning joint stiffness by up to 40% in older adults. That is a significant number for 5 minutes of your time. Step 3. The anti-inflammatory evening meal strategy. What you eat for dinner directly influences how much inflammation is running through your body at 3 in the morning. Certain foods are strongly pro-inflammatory. They increase the production of those inflammatory compounds I mentioned earlier. The main ones to minimize in your evening meal are refined sugars, white flour, processed meats, and fried foods. When you eat these foods at dinner, they trigger an inflammatory cascade that is still active while you're trying to sleep. On the other hand, certain foods are genuinely anti-inflammatory. Research suggests these are among the most powerful. Fatty fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel, are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which actively reduce the production of inflammatory compounds in the body. Aim for fatty fish at least twice a week. If you cannot eat fish, a high-quality fish oil supplement, 1 to 2 grams of combined EPA and DHA daily, is an option worth discussing with your doctor. Turmeric, the yellow spice used in curries, contains a compound called curcumin that has been studied extensively for its anti-inflammatory properties. Adding half a teaspoon to soups, stews, or even warm milk before bed is a simple daily step that many of my patients report makes a noticeable difference over weeks. Tart cherry juice, half a cup in the evening, has been studied specifically for its effect on sleep quality and muscle soreness. Several small studies suggest it can reduce exercise-related and age-related muscle inflammation, partly because of compounds that function similarly to low-level anti-inflammatory medication. Please note, this is not a medicine, it is a food. But for many people, it is a food worth trying. And perhaps most importantly, reduce your alcohol intake in the evening. I know this is not what everyone wants to hear, but alcohol disrupts the deep, restorative stages of sleep, increases inflammation, dehydrates the body, and worsens the morning cortisol regulation I described earlier. A glass of wine a few times a week is likely fine for most people. 2 or 3 drinks every evening is working directly against your body's ability to repair itself overnight. Step 4. Optimizing your sleep environment. Your mattress, your pillow, and your sleep position are doing more to determine how you feel in the morning than almost anything else on this list. On mattresses, if yours is more than 8 to 10 years old, it is likely no longer providing adequate support regardless of how it looks or feels when you sit on it briefly. Medium firm is the level that research most consistently associates with reduced back pain. If a new mattress is not possible right now, a medium firm foam mattress topper, which is significantly less expensive, can provide meaningful improvement. On pillows, your pillow should keep your head and neck in a neutral position. If you sleep on your side, your pillow needs to be thick enough to fill the gap between your shoulder and your head. If you sleep on your back, you need a thinner pillow that allows your neck to maintain its natural curve. A pillow that is too high or too low will place your neck in a strained position for 8 hours, and you will feel it every single morning. On sleep position, side sleeping with a pillow placed between your knees is the position most commonly associated with reduced spinal stress. Back sleeping with a pillow under your knees is also excellent. Stomach sleeping is the position most likely to contribute to neck, back, and hip pain overnight. If you are a stomach sleeper and you are waking up in pain, that is often the first and most important thing to change. Step 5. The first 10 minutes of your morning. How you get out of bed matters, and how you move in the first 10 minutes after waking can dramatically influence how the rest of your morning feels. First, do not jump out of bed. I know that sounds obvious, but many people sit bolt upright immediately when the alarm goes off, which loads the spine suddenly and all at once. Instead, roll to your side first. Use your arm to push yourself up. Let your body come to vertical slowly. Second, before you walk to the kitchen or the bathroom, spend 3 to 4 minutes doing very gentle movement while still near the bed. Gentle knee bends, slow arm circles, a few side-to-side weight shifts. You are warming up the synovial fluid in your joints and signaling your muscles that the day is starting. You are wetting the sponge. Third, drink your water immediately. We covered this in step 1. Fourth, if you have the ability to do so, a 5-minute slow walk, even just up and down your hallway, before sitting down for breakfast significantly improves joint lubrication, cortisol regulation, and circulation. In my clinical experience, patients who begin their morning with even a brief walk report meaningfully better mobility and significantly less pain within the first 2 to 3 weeks of doing it consistently. And remember, you do not need to do all of this perfectly tonight. Start with just one of these steps, one change. Maybe it's the water on your nightstand. Maybe it's the 5-minute evening movement sequence. Maybe it's looking at your mattress for the first time in 12 years. One thing, that is how healing begins. Your body has been working for you every single day of your life. It has carried you through decades, through challenges, through grief, through joy. It has woken up every single morning and tried its best to serve you, even when you did not know how to support it properly. It is not broken. It is not failing you. It just needs the right tools. And now you have them. I want to hear from you. Drop a comment right now and tell me, what time of day do you feel the most stiffness or pain? Is it worst when you first wake up, or does it build throughout the day? I personally read every single comment. Your experience might be exactly what someone else sitting at home needs to see. Your story has power. Share it. And if you want to keep building on what we covered today, subscribe and stay with me. Because in my next video, I am going to show you the 5 specific foods that are silently making joint inflammation worse in people over 50. And most of them are things you probably consider healthy. That video could genuinely change what is on your dinner plate. I will see you there. I am Dr. Marcus, and this is Dr. Marcus Med Show. Goodbye.